In this episode, we're going to cover COGS, or cost of goods sold, in Shopify. It's literally a field at the product record level in Shopify. It's called cost per item, and it's just a static value that you would just plug into that field in the product within your Shopify store. So why would we do this? Well, it's because at the end of the day, we care about our profit. Revenue is great, but we really care about how profitable the business is. And with a cost of goods sold figure inside of each product, you're going to be able to very easily see what the profitability is at the product level, maybe the category level, and the entire business, at least your gross profit. It's going to take a look at your revenue per unit less the cost per unit and give you a pretty good understanding of your profitability expressed both as a percentage and a dollar amount. So the cost of good is just what the product cost you. Gross profit is revenue minus your cost of goods. And if you don't have cost of goods inside the product record, of course, you can't calculate any of that, at least not easily. It would become a real mess to do it sort of offline in spreadsheets. So your cost of goods is what you paid for one unit. And I know that can get a little complicated depending upon how you procure your inventory. If you're buying finished goods, meaning it's ready to sell, you're just buying it from a manufacturer or a distributor, well, your cost of goods is pretty straightforward. It's whatever you're paying per unit for that item. If you're manufacturing items, however, it gets to be a little more complicated. It's the sum of all the raw materials that you had to put together to complete one finished unit. On-demand products, kind of similar to manufacturing. It depends on how you're procuring that or how you're assembling it. Kits, assemblies, bundles, all that same stuff applies. You have to really think about what is your all-in cost to create one single unit, and keep it at the unit level. That's the way to consider this. And as your costs change, if you're buying raw materials, of course, you'll want to keep that noted and add it to your, however you're analyzing all of this to make sure that you're representing the current cost of goods for any particular unit. Don't overload the COGS field. It's going to be tempting to put a lot of other stuff in there. Some of the classic things I see are inbound freight, meaning how much you're paying to a particular distributor, manufacturer, vendor to ship it to you. That's separate. You'll see that on your profit and loss statement. You could have it literally as an inbound freight line item, but it varies so much. If you buy 10 units or if you buy 1,000, the freight allocation per unit is going to vary a tremendous amount. So I don't like to deal with inbound freight at all with your cost of goods. Try to stick to just what is very literally the cost of that single item, and leave out stuff like inbound freight, credit card processing fees, and things like that. And don't make a wild guess at it. Try your best to make not even an educated guess, but try to get as literal as you can with your cost of goods at the unit level. Your cost of goods field, if that's in Shopify, it's really going to turn all of your reporting from just top level revenue and unit volume reporting into a way more meaningful profitability reports, whether those are reports that you're kicking out directly from Shopify, which of course they have, or if you're just dumping all this data into spreadsheets and doing your own analysis. As long as you've got a cost field populated for all of your items, it's going to really give you way more enlightened reporting surrounding the entire business's profitability. Having that in place, you're going to be able to stand back and compare profit by products. You might think that a particular product is killing it because you're selling a lot of them, maybe even making a lot of revenue. But if the cost is such that the overall cumulative amount of profit isn't as great as you thought it would be, then you definitely want to know that. Maybe there's some products that you think are kind of mediocre, middle of the road, but it turns out they're generating even more profit dollars than some of the so-called all-stars. So that's just one example of the benefits of making sure that you consistently have accurate cost of goods at every product level. It's going to really help you spot the winners and the losers and make decisions like, should you clearance certain things out, get it off the shelf, turn that into cash, and really help you see even directionally into the future, which categories are very profitable and where can you expand your business and maybe get out of some other niches that are not producing as much profit. It all originates with your cost of goods sold. You need to really understand the unit level economics as well, and cost of goods sold is a giant factor in that. Unit level economics is a way of standing back and saying, at the unit level, just one unit of whatever product, how profitable am I? Of course, that number needs to be above zero, and the higher the better. It starts with your sale price, also known as retail price, and then the next thing is you just take out the cost of goods sold, and then there's other things. Processing fees, probably about 3% of the overall price of the product, and shipping if you're charging shipping. This modeling will also help you eyeball marketing costs. I know that's hard to say that it's a direct correlation towards a particular item or even an order, but it at least helps you wrap your head around it. If you model this, let's say your business typically sells one product at a time, you can kind of model this and say, well, I can justify spending X amount for marketing to generate this order. But you can't do that really properly unless you have a decent cost of goods sold figure in place to really model it all, in reality. Old cost data is a bad thing. It can create some bad decisions, and it's easy to let that happen, especially the more products you have and the more vendors and suppliers you're procuring all your products from, or even manufacturing. So keep a close eye on that. Every single purchase order might reflect different costs, particularly if you're scaling and you're buying larger and larger quantities and you're actively negotiating with your suppliers for better costs. So always keep an eye on that, consider it, and update Shopify accordingly with your new cost of goods sold as these prices fluctuate. You might get lower costs because of your volume, but you might also get higher costs because that's just sometimes the reality. Sometimes suppliers raise their prices. So keep a close eye on those changes and be sure that you're on top of it and updating it. Because again, if the data is wrong, your analysis is going to be wrong, and you might start making some poor decisions at the strategic level surrounding your entire product portfolio. To sum it up, some tips are to start with your best sellers. It might be overwhelming if you have a lot of products to go through this. So at least start with the big ones. Go and look at your Shopify reporting, figure out what maybe your top 10 products are, and then just buckle down and go figure out what your cost of goods are. It may not be perfect, but just do your best attempt to get those numbers accurate. Populate those into Shopify, and then keep going. Ultimately, we want a cost of goods sold for everything that you have, and that's going to be crucial for the longevity and health of your Shopify business. Thanks for watching, and I hope that helped.